this video is about. The single dad found a lost puppy, and it led to the CEO's biggest secret. If this story touches your heart, please like the video and share your thoughts in comments. The morning sun spilled through the half-drawn curtains of a modest apartment, casting stripes of light across the living room floor. It illuminated a world that, while simple, held a certain charm. An old, faded couch enveloped in a patchwork of blankets, a small dining table surrounded by mismatched chairs, and a shelf crammed with books that spoke of past adventures. This was the home of Ethan Cole, a single father who had learned to navigate the trials of parenthood with a blend of determination and exhaustion, and who had made it his mission to create a joyful life for his 6-year-old daughter, Mia. Ethan had always envisioned fatherhood differently, filled with weekend camping trips, art projects spread across kitchen counters, and endless laughter. Reality, however, had a way of dulling dreams. The responsibilities of balancing a job, one he took to provide for Mia, and the unpredictability of life as a single parent often left him feeling stretched thin. Still, he wore his love for Mia as a badge of honor, despite the weariness that sometimes shadowed his eyes. Today was a Saturday, and the gentle hum of the city outside hinted at a world awakening. Mia, her dark curls bouncing with each movement, was humming a tune while she scrambled over her toys on the living room floor, eyes sparkling with anticipation for a day filled with possibility. "Dad, can we go to the park today, please?" She called, her voice bursting through the air like a pop of confetti. Ethan paused, glancing up from his phone where he had been scrolling through emails. He knew he should reply with a firm yes. The park was a magical place for a child, and it would do them both good to bask in the outdoors. But the responsibilities of the week hung over him like a heavy cloud. "Mia, Please, Dad, I've been thinking about it all week." She pouted, her bright blue eyes now glistening with the kind of hope that could shatter even the most stubborn of hearts. He sighed, feeling his resolve soften. All right, let's go to the park," he relented, a smile breaking through his initial hesitance. "But just for a little while. I have some work to do when we get back." Mia clapped her hands in delight, her laughter ringing like music. "Yay, let's have a picnic," she exclaimed, rushing to gather a few snacks from the kitchen. As they made their way to the park, the world seemed to come alive. Children laughed and chased each other on the playground, while adults jogged along the paths, earbuds in place. It was a typical Saturday. Yet for Ethan, each moment was a reminder of his promise to give Mia the childhood she deserved, despite their circumstances. They found a patch of grass beneath a large oak tree, the foliage offering a cool respite from the sun. Ethan spread out a checkered blanket, and they settled down with sandwiches and juice boxes, sharing stories and giggles. "Dad, do you think we'll ever get a dog?" Mia asked, her voice hopeful as she took a bite of her sandwich. Ethan hesitated. They had talked about it before. The idea of getting a dog had danced around the edges of their conversations, but reality was more complex. "Maybe one day," he replied, keeping his tone light. "Dogs require a lot of responsibility, and with my work and everything, it's a big commitment." Mia frowned slightly, her playful spirit dimming just a touch. "But they're so fun. A puppy would play with me, and we could go on adventures together." The earnestness in her voice tugged at Ethan's heart. "Maybe we can volunteer at a shelter one day, and you can play with the puppies there," he suggested, trying to redirect her thoughts. The conversation shifted as they finished their meal, and Mia dashed off to the playground. Ethan watched her run, soaking in her joy and the innocence of childhood. Just as he was about to pull out his phone and catch up on work emails, he heard a low, whimpering sound coming from nearby bushes. Curiosity piqued. He stood up and approached the noise, parting the leaves to find a small, trembling puppy, its fur a mix of brown and white, dirt smeared across its face and paws. Its big, round eyes looked up at Ethan, filled with fear and uncertainty. "Oh, you poor thing," he murmured, kneeling down to the puppy's level. "What are you doing out here all alone?" The puppy inched closer, its tiny body shaking. Ethan felt a surge of protectiveness wash over him as he held out his hand, inviting the animal forward. "It's okay, little buddy. I won't hurt you." After a few tentative moments, the puppy approached, sniffing at Ethan's fingers before nuzzling against his palm. Just then, Mia appeared, her eyes widening in surprise. "Dad, look, a puppy!" she squealed, rushing over. "I think he's lost," Ethan said softly, scratching behind the puppy's ear. "We should take him to a shelter. Can we keep him?" Mia pleaded, her expression earnest and hopeful, the same way she had just moments before when they discussed a dog. "Let's see if we can find his owner first," Ethan replied, struggling with the idea of bringing a puppy home. He knew the challenges that came with caring for a pet, but deep down, he could feel his heart softening at the sight of his daughter's delight. They spent the next hour walking around the park, asking people if they had seen anyone searching for a lost puppy. The more time they spent with the little creature, the more Ethan found himself enchanted by its playful antics. Mia giggled as it chased after fallen leaves, its tail wagging with pure exuberance. As they walked, Ethan's mind wandered back to his job. He was a project manager at a tech company, a position that had once been a source of pride but had recently turned into a stifling routine filled with endless meetings and corporate jargon. He had been so entrenched in the grind that he had lost sight of the joy he once found in his work. Perhaps, he thought, a little chaos, like a puppy, might just be what they needed to shake things up. Just as they were about to give up hope of finding the puppy's owner, a well-dressed woman rushed into the park, her expression frantic. "Archie, Archie," she called, her voice laced with panic. Ethan and Mia exchanged glances. "That must be him," Mia whispered, her heart racing with excitement. "Excuse me," Ethan called out, waving the woman over. "Is this your puppy?" The woman's eyes lit up with relief as she hurried over, kneeling to scoop the puppy up in her arms. "Oh, thank you so much. I thought I had lost him forever." She held the puppy close, her voice trembling with emotion. "He's my everything." As they stood there, Ethan felt a strange connection to the woman. There was a vulnerability in her eyes that mirrored his own. They were both navigating a world that felt overwhelming at times. "I'm glad we found him," he said, his voice warm. "It's nice to see him safe." "Thank you again," the woman said, her smile radiant as she looked at Mia. "I can't imagine how worried I would have been if you hadn't found him." Mia beamed, her excitement bubbling over into a laugh. "Can we come visit him again?" she asked, her eyes wide with hope. Ethan felt a tug at his heart but knew he needed to tread carefully. "Maybe we can arrange something," he said cautiously. A moment hung in the air between them, charged with unspoken understanding. The woman's name was Claire, and as they exchanged numbers for future puppy playdates, Ethan couldn't shake the feeling that their paths had crossed for a reason. Little did he know, their encounter would lead to revelations far beyond a lost puppy, secrets hidden beneath the polished surface of corporate life, and truths about both their lives that would change everything. The rest of the afternoon unfolded like a gentle breeze, Mia's laughter ringing through the park as Ethan found himself smiling more than he had in months. Their adventure with Archie might have ended, but for Ethan, it felt like the beginning of something new. A spark of connection had ignited, unveiling possibilities beyond ordinary days, and as he watched his daughter play, he couldn't help but feel that her wish for a dog might soon find its way into reality. The next week unfolded with an air of anticipation. Ethan found himself looking at his phone more often than he usually allowed, checking for messages from Claire. The connection they had shared at the park lingered in his mind like a warm ember, igniting both curiosity and a sense of possibility. Each day after work, he would scroll through images of his daughter and the puppy they had rescued, imagining how different life might be if they took the plunge into pet ownership. "Dad, can we go to the park again?" Mia asked one evening as they sat at the kitchen table, surrounded by the remnants of dinner, half-eaten mac and cheese and a spilled glass of juice. She was busy doodling on a piece of paper, her concentration fierce as she drew her version of Archie, complete with oversized floppy ears and a tail that looked like it could wag right off the page. "Why, are you missing that little furball already?" Ethan chuckled, wiping a smudge of cheese from her cheek with a napkin. Mia looked up, her blue eyes wide and earnest. "He was so cute, Dad. And Claire is really nice too. I think we should be friends with her." Ethan couldn't help but smile at her enthusiasm. "I think so too," he said as he contemplated their previous encounter. Claire had seemed genuinely kind, and there had been an easy warmth between them. "How about we text her and see if she wants to meet us at the park again this weekend?" Mia's face lit up. "Yes, I'll help you." She hopped off her chair, practically buzzing with excitement. As he pulled out his phone, Ethan felt a flicker of nerves. What if Claire didn't want to meet again? What if she was just being polite? But a quick glance at Mia's eager face pushed him past his hesitations. He sent off a quick message. "Hey Claire, Mia and I were wondering if you'd like to meet us at the park again this weekend." Almost instantly, a reply popped up. "I'd love that. Archie can't wait to see you both. How about Saturday at 2? Ethan smiled, relief flooding through him. He looked at Mia, who was practically bouncing in her chair. "We're all set for Saturday." By the time Saturday rolled around, the air was thick with warmth, and the sun hung high in a cloudless sky. Ethan and Mia arrived at the park early, armed with a picnic basket stuffed with sandwiches, cookies, and a bottle of lemonade. They spread out their blanket beneath the same grand oak tree where they had first encountered Archie. "Do you think Claire will come?" Mia asked as she arranged their snacks with the precision of a tiny master chef. "I think she will," Ethan replied, his tone soothing. "People tend to show up when they say they will. Besides, I could use a little adult conversation." Mia laughed, her giggles floating through the air like music. "You just want to talk about boring grown-up stuff." "Hey, boring grown-up stuff is important. It helps you be ready for the world," Ethan said, pretending to be serious, which only made Mia laugh harder. "Boring is not ready. Ready is fun," she declared, sticking her tongue out playfully. As the clock neared 2 o'clock, Ethan felt a flutter of anxiety in his stomach. He glanced around, half expecting to see Claire's blonde hair bobbing through the crowd. Just as he was about to check the time again, he spotted her walking towards them, Archie trotting proudly at her side. "Mia, Ethan," Claire called out, her smile brightening the late afternoon. "There's our little hero," she exclaimed, bending down to scratch behind Archie's ears as he bounded towards Mia. "Archie," Mia squealed, launching herself towards the puppy. The two of them tumbled into a giggling pile, the puppy licking her cheeks and sending her into fits of laughter. Ethan stood by, a soft smile on his face as he watched the scene unfold. He felt a warmth in his chest, something akin to hope, as Claire approached him. "Thanks for inviting us. I hoped you would." "Of course," Ethan replied, gesturing towards the picnic. "We've got snacks if you're hungry. I wasn't sure how much Archie would eat, so I brought extra for everyone." Claire laughed, a sound that felt like sunshine breaking through clouds. "I don't think he'll complain about that." She glanced at the blanket and then at Ethan, her gaze lingering for just a moment too long. "You've created a lovely little space here." "Thanks," Ethan said, feeling a flutter of self-consciousness. "It's not much, but it's home." They settled down, the picnic area coming alive with laughter and the sounds of children playing. Archie burrowed himself between Mia and Claire, his tongue lolling out happily, while Ethan and Claire shared easy conversation over sandwiches. "There's something about the park, isn't there?" Claire said, her eyes sparkling as she watched Mia and Archie play tag. "It feels like a little world of its own." "Absolutely," Ethan agreed, his heart swelling as he watched his daughter twirl around, her laughter harmonizing with the chatter of the birds above. "It's where I feel like I can breathe a little. Work can be, well, suffocating at times." Claire nodded, an understanding look passing between them. "I know what you mean. I run a company and sometimes it feels like I'm drowning in spreadsheets and meetings. It's exhausting." "What's your company, if you don't mind my asking?" Ethan ventured, curiosity taking hold. "I run a tech firm dedicated to creating sustainable solutions. We focus on tech that can help reduce waste, things like biodegradable packaging and innovations in renewable energy," she replied, her tone brightening as she spoke about her passion. "It's incredibly rewarding, but also incredibly stressful." "Wow, that's impressive," Ethan said, genuinely intrigued. "I often feel like I'm just keeping my head above water in my role. I work in project management at a tech company too, but it doesn't feel as meaningful." Claire glanced at him, a thoughtful expression playing across her face. "It can be hard to find meaning in the routine. Maybe you need a little chaos in your life," she teased, a playful glint in her eyes. Ethan chuckled, catching her meaning. "I've been considering it. Chaos has been knocking at my door lately." Just then Mia interrupted, her hands outstretched, fingers sticky from cookies. "Look at what I taught Archie to do." She clapped her hands and the puppy jumped up, his tail wagging furiously. "He's a good boy, isn't he?" Claire's gaze softened as she looked at her puppy and then at Mia. "He's the best. You're a great teacher, Mia." Mia beamed with pride, her cheeks flushed with joy. "Can I keep him forever?" she asked, her shyness slipping away as she reached for Archie, who licked her face with eagerness. Ethan caught Claire's eye and they both shared a small smile that spoke volumes. "I think someone," Claire started, but Ethan interrupted. "Has to be responsible for feeding him and cleaning up after him," he said, raising his eyebrows at Mia, who instantly looked thoughtful. "Okay, but I still want to keep him," she declared, her little face scrunching up in determination. As their laughter echoed around them, Ethan felt an unspoken connection growing between him and Claire. It was a bond that transcended their roles as parents, fueled by shared experiences and the peculiar understanding that sometimes life's most unexpected moments could lead to something beautiful. Hours passed, the sun beginning its descent, casting golden rays across the park as they shared stories, laughter, and even a few moments of silence, each comfortable in the presence of the other. Ethan found himself opening up to Claire in ways he hadn't expected. She spoke about the challenges of her business, and he shared his struggles with balancing work and parenting, the conversations flowing with surprising ease. "Sometimes I wonder if I should just take a leap and change careers," he confessed, his voice low. "But then I think about Mia and how I need to provide for her. It's hard to take risks when you have someone else depending on you." Claire nodded, her expression pensive. "I get that. I've taken my share of risks, and while they've been rewarding, they've also been terrifying. It's a constant juggling act between ambition and responsibility." As the sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the grass, Claire leaned in slightly, her voice softening. "You know, Ethan, sometimes it's the risks that lead us to the most beautiful adventures." He met her gaze, and for a moment the world around them faded. "What do you mean by that?" "I mean perhaps embracing a little chaos, like Archie, might be exactly what both of us need." Her words hung between them, heavy with unspoken possibilities. At that moment, As laughter and the distant sounds of children echoed around them, Ethan felt a stirring deep within him, a whisper of hope ignited by Claire's presence. Perhaps this unexpected connection was a chance to explore something new, not just for him, but for Mia too. As dusk began to settle in, their conversations took on a different tone, one filled with dreams and aspirations that had long lain dormant. They spoke of life. As dusk began to settle in, their conversations took on a different tone, one filled with dreams and aspirations that had long lain dormant. They spoke of life before parenthood, of ambitions that had been set aside in the name of responsibility. The picnic blanket turned into a space for shared vulnerabilities, and Ethan felt a weight lifting as he opened up to Claire. "I used to want to travel the world," he admitted, raking a hand through his hair. "I dreamt of adventure, of seeing places that were beyond my imagination. But then life happened, and suddenly I was in a routine, counting down the days until the weekend. I love Mia more than anything, but sometimes I miss the thrill of the unknown." Claire regarded him with a mix of empathy and understanding. "I get that more than you know. My company was a dream I worked hard for, but sometimes I feel like I'm trapped in a cycle of meetings and corporate politics. I miss the excitement of brainstorming ideas with passion, not just for profit." Ethan nodded. "It's so easy to lose sight of what sparked your passion in the first place. I've become so focused on being responsible that I've forgotten to embrace the joy of simply living." Just as he spoke, Mia came bounding back into view, her laughter echoing through the gathering twilight. "Dad, look, Archie can almost do a trick." She had a branch in her hand, gesturing wildly as if trying to convey the most important secret in the world. "Watch." Ethan and Claire turned their attention to the puppy, who was now sniffing curiously at the ground, his tail wagging in a blur. Mia waved the stick enticingly, and with a little coaxing, Archie bounded after it, his little legs moving faster than they should have been able to. The sight sent ripples of laughter through Ethan, and Claire joined in, her laughter light and infectious. "See, he loves it," Mia exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with delight. "Can I keep him forever, Dad?" Ethan chuckled softly, glancing at Claire, who was also smiling at the scene unfolding before them. "If you can promise to take care of him, we can talk about it," he replied, just as the puppy returned to Mia, the stick triumphantly secured in his mouth, tail wagging proudly. "Archie is the best dog ever," Mia declared, her cheeks flushed with excitement. As the evening wore on, the golden hour cast a warm glow over the park, and the air was filled with the scent of fresh-cut grass and blooming flowers. Ethan watched Mia play, her laughter weaving through the sounds of the park, and he felt a sense of peace wash over him. He realized that amidst the chaos of their lives, this moment felt profoundly right. "Thank you for inviting us today," Claire said, breaking into his thoughts. "I needed this. It's been a while since I felt free." "Me too," Ethan confessed, meeting her gaze. "I didn't realize how much I needed a connection like this until today." There was a brief pause, a shared understanding that lingered in the air like the afterglow of sunset. They both felt it, the magnetic pull of something unspoken, a connection that danced just out of reach, yet felt so right. "Can I tell you a secret?" Claire's voice was soft, her gaze steady on Ethan's face. "Sure," he replied, his heart quickening with curiosity. "I haven't been entirely honest about my company," she admitted, biting her lip as if weighing her words. "It wasn't just about sustainability. We've been struggling financially, and I've been trying to find ways to keep us afloat without compromising our values. The pressure has been immense, especially with investors breathing down my neck." Ethan's expression shifted from curiosity to concern. "I'm sorry to hear that. It must be tough to balance your vision with the harsh realities of business." "It is," Claire breathed, her shoulders sagging slightly under the weight of her confession. "But I've been thinking about a rebranding, something that could bring back the passion that started it all. I don't know if I'm ready to take that risk yet." "Maybe you should," Ethan suggested, the words spilling from his heart. "If you believe in what you're doing, sometimes risks are necessary. You've got to trust yourself and your vision, even if it feels daunting." Claire looked at him, her eyes widening slightly as if his words had struck a chord deep within her. "You think so?" "I do," he replied, his voice steady. "Life is too short to live in fear or to stifle your dreams because of what could go wrong. Embrace the chaos like Archie. Who knows what amazing adventures might come from it?" A slow smile spread across Claire's face, her eyes shimmering with renewed hope. "You're right. I've been holding back too much. Maybe it is time to shake things up." Mia returned just then, interrupting their moment, her cheeks flushed from running. "What are you two talking about?" she asked, curiosity etched on her young face. "Just some grown-up stuff," Ethan replied, ruffling her hair playfully. "Nothing you need to worry about. What do you have there?" She held out her hand, showing a small flower she had picked from the grass. "I found this for you, Dad," she said, beaming with pride. "It's beautiful just like you," he said, accepting the flower and pinning it onto the collar of his shirt. "Thank you, Mia. Can we take Archie for a walk now?" she asked, tugging at the puppy's leash. "He needs to see more of the park." "All right, let's go," Claire said, standing up and extending her hand to Mia, who took it eagerly. "We can let him lead us to new adventures." Ethan watched as they walked ahead, a heartwarming sight of two individuals, one small, one grown, both embracing the simplicity and joy of the moment. He felt a pull to join them, but for a moment he lingered behind, soaking in the scene. The sun dipped lower, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, and he felt a swell of gratitude for the serendipity of the day. As he caught up to them, Claire turned and smiled, her face glowing in the evening light. "You should join us for a walk. It's the best way to let Archie burn off some energy." "I'm right here," Ethan said, bumping into her side playfully. "Lead the way, ladies." They strolled through the park, the three of them weaving a tapestry of laughter and conversation. They shared anecdotes about their lives, their dreams, and the chaos that sometimes felt overwhelming. Ethan learned more about Claire, her fierce determination, and her passion for her work. She spoke of her desire to make a difference in the world, and he found himself admiring her tenacity. As they walked, the evening deepened and the park began to empty, the sounds of laughter fading into the distance. But for Ethan, time felt suspended. He was no longer just a single dad navigating the complexities of life. He felt lighter, filled with the hope of new beginnings and perhaps the chance for something more. "Can we do this again next weekend?" Mia piped up, eyes sparkling like stars in the night sky. "I want to play with Archie again." Claire chuckled, a warm sound that resonated in Ethan's chest. "I'd love that. How about I bring some treats for Archie too?" "Yay," Mia squealed, clapping her hands. "And maybe we can have a picnic again, just like today." "Absolutely," Claire said, her gaze flicking towards Ethan, a silent agreement passing between them. "A puppy picnic sounds perfect." As they made their way back to the car, Ethan felt a flutter of excitement in his chest. The day had been unexpected in the best possible way, and he found himself looking forward to more moments like this, moments filled with laughter, connection, and perhaps a little chaos. In the distance, the city lights began to twinkle, a reminder of the world that awaited them. And as they drove home, Ethan couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning of an adventure that would lead them into uncharted territory, where dreams and reality might intertwine, and where the magic of connection could transform their lives in ways they never imagined. Perhaps, just perhaps, the lost puppy had led him to find something far more significant than he ever expected, a chance to reclaim his dreams, a budding friendship, and the possibility of a future that felt bright and boundless. As he glanced in the rearview mirror at Mia, her face alight with joy, he couldn't help but smile. Life had a funny way of surprising him, and this time, he was ready to embrace it all. The week that followed the picnic felt like a long, winding road filled with eager anticipation, each day stretching further as Ethan Cole counted the hours until Saturday arrived. After their unexpected adventure with Claire and Archie, he couldn't shake the lightness in his heart. It was as if a door had opened, letting in fresh air that blew away the cobwebs of routine that had slowly enveloped him over the years. Ethan sat at the kitchen table one evening, the faint glow of the setting sun filtering through the window. He absent-mindedly stirred a pot of spaghetti sauce simmering on the stove, his mind preoccupied. The aroma filled the air, wafting through the small apartment, but it was the thought of Claire and their budding connection that truly consumed him. "Mia," he called, pulling himself from his thoughts, "dinner's almost ready." His daughter came bounding into the kitchen, her hair a wild halo of curls, cheeks flushed from playing outside. "Can I help?" She looked up at him with bright blue eyes, a mixture of excitement and determination. "Of course, my little chef," Ethan said, smiling as he handed her a wooden spoon. "Just be gentle while stirring. This sauce needs love." Mia took the spoon, her small hands gripping it tightly, and began to stir with exaggerated enthusiasm. "Like this," she exclaimed, the spoon splashing sauce against the sides of the pot. "Exactly like that," Ethan chuckled, wiping the splashed sauce from the counter. "Just be careful, you don't want to wear it." As they prepared dinner together, Mia chattered about her day, about her friends at school, their plans for a class project, and most importantly, about the upcoming weekend. "Are we going to see Archie and Claire again?" she asked, her voice bubbling with excitement. "Absolutely, we have plans for a picnic," Ethan replied, feeling his heart lift at the memory of their last outing. It had been refreshing, a moment of joy amidst the chaos of daily life, and he knew that Mia had quickly formed a bond with both Claire and the puppy. "Can we bring cookies this time?" Mia suggested, her eyes shining with mischief. "Archie loves cookies. I saw him steal one from your bag." Ethan laughed, shaking his head lightly. "All right, we'll make some cookies, but you have to promise to keep an eye on him this time. We can't have him running off with our snacks." "Deal," she chirped, her excitement palpable as they finished up dinner. They shared the meal around their small dining table, the comforting noises of cutlery clinking and laughter filling the air. After dinner, Ethan and Mia retreated to the living room. Mia had brought out her crayons and paper, sprawled on the floor, lost in a world of creativity. Ethan sat nearby, scrolling through his phone, checking messages and emails, but his mind kept drifting back to Claire. "Dad, look what I drew," Mia exclaimed, breaking his thoughts. She held up a crayon drawing, a colorful depiction of Archie under a bright sun, Mia standing beside him with a huge grin. "That's amazing, Mia," Ethan said, genuinely impressed. "You've captured his spirit perfectly. Can you put it on the fridge?" she asked, bouncing slightly. "Of course," he replied, taking the drawing and heading toward the fridge, where several of Mia's masterpieces already adorned the door. He hung it up with a magnet, stepping back to admire it. "There, now he can watch over us every day." Mia giggled. "Archie likes it here. He's our special guest." As the week trudged on, Ethan found himself increasingly aware of the small things. How Mia's laughter echoed through their apartment, the warmth of the sun pouring through their windows, the taste of cookies baking in the oven. He realized that these moments were the threads weaving together the fabric of their lives, a tapestry filled with memories, dreams, and the kind of love that anchored them both. Finally, Saturday arrived, each hour ticking by like a countdown to something wonderful. Ethan and Mia spent the morning preparing for their picnic. The kitchen was filled with the scents of freshly baked cookies, and Mia was buzzing with excitement. "Dad, can we pack some juice boxes?" she asked, bouncing on her toes as if she could hardly contain her eagerness. "Absolutely. You're in charge of drinks," Ethan replied, watching her dash to the fridge, her small figure a whirlwind of energy. "Okay, I'll get the blue ones," she shouted, rummaging through the shelves. Once the picnic basket was packed, they headed to the park, the sun shining brightly above them, casting a golden hue over the landscape. Mia practically skipped ahead, tugging on the leash attached to Archie's collar, who was equally excited to be out in the open. "Look at him, Dad. He's so happy." Mia laughed, her laughter mingling with the sounds of the park, a symphony of children playing, dogs barking, and the rustling of leaves in the gentle breeze. As they settled under the same oak tree, Ethan spread out the blanket while Mia raced around with Archie, their joyous antics drawing smiles from those nearby. The puppy chased after sticks, bounding with unrestrained energy, while Mia squealed with delight. It wasn't long before Claire arrived, her presence bringing an additional lightness to the atmosphere. "I'm so sorry I'm late," she said, her cheeks flushed. "Traffic was a nightmare." "No problem at all," Ethan replied, feeling a warmth spread through him at the sight of her. "The more time we have for fun, the better." Mia ran up to Claire, her face alight with joy. "Look what we made," she exclaimed, holding up the picnic basket. Claire knelt down beside her, her eyes sparkling with delight. "I can't wait to see what's inside." As they unpacked the food, Ethan caught Claire's gaze across the spread of sandwiches, cookies, and juice boxes. A silent exchange passed between them, an understanding of the joy that came from simple moments like these, the kind that life had a way of rushing past. "Everything looks delicious," Claire said, her tone inviting. "I think we're in for a real treat today." "Especially the cookies," Mia chimed in, already reaching for one. They settled down to eat, laughter filling the air as they shared stories and playful banter. It felt easy, the conversation flowing like water, and Ethan found himself opening up in ways he hadn't anticipated. He spoke about his daily challenges as a single dad, the balancing act he performed between work and parenting. Claire, in turn, shared her experiences of running a business, her frustrations, and her aspirations for the future. "Sometimes I feel like I'm spinning plates in the air," she confessed, her tone thoughtful. "I want to innovate, but it's hard when you have to please so many people." Ethan nodded, his heart thrumming in empathy. "I can relate. It's tough to stay true to yourself in a world that demands conformity, but you have to trust your instincts. If you believe in your vision, that passion will resonate with others." "Easier said than done," Claire replied, her gaze steady on him. "But you're right. Maybe it's time I took some of my own advice." As they wrapped up the meal, Mia's attention turned back to Archie, who had discovered a patch of grass that was particularly enticing. "Let him run. Let him be free," she shouted, her voice bubbling with enthusiasm. "All right, let him go," Ethan said, laughing as the puppy galloped away, tail wagging like a flag. "Just keep an eye on him." Mia raced after Archie, her laughter trailing behind her like a melody. And for a moment, it was just Ethan and Claire, the air thick with unspoken words. "You're really good with her," Claire said, breaking the comfortable silence. "It's clear how much you love her." "Thanks," Ethan replied, feeling warmth at her compliment. "She's my everything. I may not have everything figured out, but I try my best." Claire smiled, her expression softening. "You're doing a fantastic job. It's inspiring to see a parent so dedicated." A comfortable silence settled between them, and Ethan felt the pull of connection deepen. "You know, there's something about today that feels special," he said, his voice low. "I didn't expect to find this kind of joy in a simple picnic." "I feel the same way," Claire admitted, her gaze steady. Life can sometimes feel mundane, but moments like these remind me of the beauty that can be found in the ordinary. As Mia returned, breathless and grinning, the puppy trailing behind her with a stick half the length of his body, Ethan felt a surge of gratitude. It wasn't just about the picnic or the puppy. It was about the connections they were forming, the laughter, the understanding, the shared experiences that made the world feel just a little bit brighter. "Archie loves playing with me," Mia exclaimed, her cheeks flushed from running. "Can we take him to the dog park next time? I bet he'd love it." "Absolutely," Claire agreed, her eyes sparkling. "That sounds like a fantastic idea." Ethan glanced at Claire, and they shared a knowing smile, both envisioning the adventure that awaited them. "Looks like we have a plan for our next outing."